I embraced the culture embraced me, the people embraced me, and the art was magnificent. I'm gonna put up a short clip, and it'll speak a little bit more to what the art and how special this city is. I'm just gonna start talking over right now. As we wait for this to play, there we go.
In New Orleans, art is the heartbeat of the culture, blending traditions from around the world to create something uniquely ours. There's power in our art, music and murals that can spark movements and inspire change. From the rhythm of the jazz to the strokes of a brush, every creation carries soul, pain, and passions from our people. While art in New Orleans has the power to provoke, football has the power to unite. You see it on Sundays, as Saints fans turn the streets into a vibrant canvas. Inside the Superdome, their voices unite as one harmonious melody. To be of New Orleans is to see, hear, and feel a black and gold line that can never be broken. This is indeed a special place, a place that is no stranger to its fair share of victories and tragedy. A place where creativity and community are not just celebrated, but cultivated. Where there is no limit to how or where art is expressed. This is New Orleans. And you don't have to call it home to feel at home. It's not just a city, it's a way of life.
That way of life, something that I was introduced to as a young professional. That way of life was about unity, was about strength, was about resilience. And being that we're in this Ashe Powerhouse Theater, Ashe Cultural Arts Center, we gotta embrace the art. When I first had a talk with Terrence Davis, he was running running the building, making sure everything was in place. He said, man, this place used to be Black Wall Street right over here. They had this business running, they had this business going on. Now, we have community members coming in regularly, having strong conversations, valuable conversations, bringing one another together through art as a means of social justice. The impact of art, and I know I'm not just talking about the paintings, the sculptures, the music, that's all intricate to the makeup of the city. It's about the togetherness. And the two guys that I'm about to introduce do a much better job of talking about community and togetherness and collaboration than I would do. Two NFL legends, Devin McCourty and Jason McCourty. Come on up.
Appreciate you guys welcoming us. It's so nice to be here in New Orleans, to know the Super Bowl is around the corner. We'll also know something in the conversation that we're going to have tonight is just as important as the game on Sunday. Usama talked about athletes and the ability to give back. We watched a video where they just said, football has the power to unite. And that's what we've been able to do as pro athletes on the football field. So many guys have realized, hey, I come from different communities where I can spark change, I can do something, I can be a catalyst. And guys have been able to use their platform to give back and create change in their communities every single day. Whether that's the city they play in, like the Saints right here in New Orleans, or that's back home in the towns that they grew up in to show effort to change things.
And you talk about unity. Unity isn't just the players in the community. Unity also comes between the players and the NFL. An inspired change was created. And you'll hear a little bit later from one of the guys and players, Anquan Bolden, who spearheaded that with Malcolm Jenkins. But with that, there were different pillars that were built. It wasn't just a moment in time. It was something that was going to be long-lasting. When you talk about economical advancement, education, criminal justice reform, the players now had a partner in the NFL that inspired change would allow them to use those resources to not only go into communities and work, but have a long-lasting impact.
When you talk about resources for players, you want to create this change. Now, how do you do it? You talked about inspiring change. Well, you find grassroots organizations in the city that you want to spark change in, and you meet, you have conversations, and you build an action plan to come up with a way to do it. For players, you just said it. We stand on a platform and we couldn't do it ourselves, but it's organizations in cities like New Orleans that you find those partners to get together and say, hey, how can my boys help uplift something that you've been fighting day in and day out to spark change? Bringing up different groups of people that have been marginalized, that feel underserved, that feel as though there's no hope. How can we give them that vision to believe in themselves and know that their community is going to have their back? It's those grassroots organizations that have been the big part and kind of the foundation to the change that you've seen athletes be able to create.
Athletes in the NFL listening. That's what it's about. So that brings us here tonight. The call to action. You're not here just to sit here and listen to the panelists. We want you to be involved because this call to action takes everybody. Everyone here has their own platform. These players, they went out and they put a spotlight on your platform. But it's up to us as people to bring everybody together, to use our platforms and go day in, day out to execute that. And that's why we're here tonight.
And before we bring Usama back over here to continue to talk to you and move this conversation along, I want to thank all of you guys for being here. I know it's a busy week for everybody. There's a lot going on, and you guys have all chosen to be in this room because you want to spark that change. Listen and make sure the conversation continues after tonight. Thank you guys for being here tonight. We're looking forward to a great time.
Thank you, Jason and Devin, for just reminding us why we're here, painting that picture of what the social justice town halls have been about, and the players and the impact that we can have and continue to have in building community. I want to say thank you, Ms. Benson. I know I mentioned being drafted here. I know that it would be remiss for me not to say thank you specifically. So thank you for coming out to this town hall and being one of the first to be part of the social justice committee that was formed years ago. I want to make sure that as we get into this conversation, a reminder, this is about celebration, this is about collaboration, this is about making sure that when we leave this room, no stone is unturned in terms of opportunities to work together and make a difference within the community. There are so many grassroots organizations here, national organizations here, community members, community leaders, from the Saints organization, NFL, and beyond. Let's make sure that we have this conversation that opens up not just dialogue, but action. Without further ado, I want to introduce the individual who will be guiding us through this conversation today, Dr. David Wall-Rice, NFL social justice consultant, professor at Morehouse College, and also lead of the Identity, Art, and Democracy Lab. He'll help us all answer, how can we leverage sports, art, and culture to address the needs of New Orleans and what roles athletes can play? Dr. Rice and panelists, come on up.
Y'all can go ahead and have a seat. Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Oh, you guys are really quiet. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Good. Good. It's great to see you all. It's a pleasure and a blessing to be in this space. Thank you to the Lauscha Cultural Arts Center, Brother Terrence Davis. Thank you, Usama, for being here and for being kind of a catalyst. I know we use that a lot. Come on, man.
Thank you.
Being a dear friend and a catalyst in ensuring that we continue to have these conversations. Look, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to be in conversation with these athletes who are a part of community. But we really want to make sure that we are in conversation with you all who are community. So this is going to be a conversation where we go back and forth. We're going to have mics that are available for you. And Usama is going to be our on-stage discussant, so he's going to be helpful. We would be remiss if we didn't have him up here as a part of this conversation today in a very, very pronounced, conspicuous way because of how it is that he leans into his social justice activism and where it kind of started in terms of his play and his commitment to the New Orleans community. First of all, and you don't need to get up to come to Mike for any of this, but what do you all know about these brothers who are up here? You might know a little bit more about Usama than the others, but who can kind of raise their hand or yell out what they know about anybody up here?
They play football.
Okay, that's good. They play. That's good. No. We want to get some baselines together. So we know they play football, right? All right. What else do we know about them? Anything else?
Juwan Johnson on TikTok.
Okay, so we have that. So this TikTok presence. So we got that. What else do we know? Yes, please.
Anquan Bolden played for Florida State. He's a ball out every
Okay. All that stuff. They are good football players. Not only football, but good. What else? One more. Yes, please. Yes.
Socially conscious.
Okay. Good. Yes.
Khalen donated money to a basketball committee.
Okay, so we have that. So I love that. This is exactly the direction that we wanted to go in. One of the things that we want to do right now as we begin the conversation is we want to complicate these human beings who are up here beyond just their play, right? Beyond just their being visible and conspicuous to you in popular culture writ large for playing a game. Certainly they do that. They do it at a high level. They've done it at a high level, but they're more than that. They are community members. So as a part of that, I just really want to run down the line and have each of these gentlemen introduce themselves, stop in at Q, to just tell us who you are. You can tell us who you play for and all that kind of stuff, but how is it that you understand yourself as a part of community? What your name is, who you are, your background, or whatever, but how you locate yourself within community.
Okay. Yep. We got some sound. I'm a little loud, so I can just yell.
Is it good? You can hear okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, everybody, I'm Khalen Saunders, aka B. That's a nickname that has been catching on a little bit around here. I'm a defensive tackle here for the New Orleans Saints for the past 2 years. Prior to that, I was with the Kansas City Chiefs for a few years. And then I'm also the president and founder of Original Element Foundation. We do a lot of work, within the community, starting off in St. Louis, where I was born and raised, and then also the community that I continue my career in, whether that be, wherever I play, I try to impact that community. So obviously with it being New Orleans. And, my whole, like you said, why do we do it and what am I aiming for? I'm aiming to get just boots on the ground. I'm aiming to get, more and more people involved, not monetarily, not, with anything other than just time and realizing what that time does for the community. And so, that's kind of my little short gist of what the Original Element Foundation is kind of based on. And that's why I'm here.
Thank you. Welcome. A round of applause, please. Saunders. Juwan, can you help us? Who are you?
I'm Juwan Johnson. I'm a tight end for the New Orleans Saints. For the past 5 years, I've been truly a blessing. Before I start talking, I just want you guys to see that Jesus in me and not seeing me. I want you guys to know that none of this is even remotely possible without him. So just want to uplift that. First and foremost, I'm a follower of Christ, and I do social media content with my wife. And I know, like God said, TikTok, but in many ways it's more than that. We try to be intentional with the things that we do. We do social work. Me and my wife do things independently, meaning that we use money on our own. So whenever we do community events, we've done something with All Moms at the beginning of the year. I host a block party back in my hometown, and also just do anything in the community like flag football events and things like that. And I really try to just be intentional, and it's really about the heart. And so I think many people try to aim too big and they miss, but I just try to aim small. And it's really about just being intentional about what you do. And just to revert back to social media, the biggest thing about affecting community is affecting what you can do within yourself, but also what you can do within your family, because that's where it starts. Because if you try to go backwards and try to affect the world first, and you haven't affected your family, you can't do anything. So as for me and my family, I try to affect them first, then affect the community, then the city, then the state, and then try to affect the world. So yes, we see everything on social media, but that all stems from me helping my family and put them in a position so where they can affect other people. So that's me, Juwan Johnson.
And Brother Q, who are you? Brother Bolden. Help us know who you are, please.
Yeah, my name is Anquan Bolden, retired NFL veteran, played 14 years in the NFL. Founder of Anquan Bolden Foundation, veteran holistic league, co-founder of Players Coalition, also co-founder of Sport for Campaign. So been serving community I grew up in and communities that I played in for 21 years, 29.
So
I'm sorry, Dr. Rice.
Yeah.
I usually don't do this, but I was forced to get up on the stage, and I said, you know what? I'll tell the audience who I am as well. My name's Usama Young. I'm the founder and president of Believe in Youth Foundation. We empower youth through education, volunteerism, and civic engagement. I'm also a senior manager of player engagement with the National Football League. I love what I do. I'm able to offer players an opportunity to leverage resources that the NFL provides. We equip, we empower, we just support, we love. And I continue to love, and I love being up here with these guys and the messages that they're about to convey. Thank you.
Thank you for that. You saw that was both kind and honest, so we appreciate you sharing that with us. I do want to, while we're up here in locating the conversation with these men who are on stage, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, they're good guys. They're good people, right? I've had a chance to know them at varying levels, but they're good folk. They're good people. And they're exceptional in how it is that they are attached to the community, but they're not exceptional in that they are attached to the community. Does that make sense? Like they are everyday people because they are part of the community and they uplift and highlight and center that connection. So I think that's important that we recognize. While we are spending time with them, there are three things that I want to make sure that we get to. This idea for a passion for social justice, right? Not only the passion for social justice, but action steps for change. You've talked to you about being associated with some type of activism or action for over 2 decades now. And then leveraging different mediums. Certainly you all are utilizing your bully pulpit as being players, but what other ways are you leading in, whether it be on social media and things like that? So So I want to go to you first, Juwan. This idea of looking at the heart, right? This passion for social justice. Why do you already answered a little bit for us, but why do you do what you do, and why is it so important?
Yeah, I'm kind of upset that I'm not able to do even more, and I feel like that's something that you have to kind of compartmentalize and also have a balance, because I have a family at home as well. And so social justice can also mean that people see you in a way that they want to affect themselves as well. And so that's why I feel like social media is such a big thing. It can be overwhelming sometimes for some people to be like, oh, well, I'm just not like that, or I just can't be that. You can be that. And that's why I feel like it's so big to, look at your inner self and know the heart behind everything. And that's what I talked about before, just aiming small. Like, it doesn't have to be the big thing. It doesn't have to happen in a day. It can just happen like one by bit, one day at a time. And I feel like it gets overwhelming when people are trying to change people in a certain way. Sometimes people don't want to be changed. And so, I just think it's just aiming small. And honestly, it's just the heart and intentional about being and doing what you want to do. And so, say if you want to affect kids, what kind of kids do you want to affect? Because if you're just affecting just a broad amount of kids, you always miss the mark. You have to be intentional about what kids you want to affect. If it's little girls, affect little girls. If it's little boys, affect little boys. If you are trying to give a message to both boys and girls, sometimes it's just you kind of miss the mark. So just being intentional about certain things.
So this idea also might sound cliche, but think globally and act locally. Is that fair?
Yeah.
My daddy told me that when I was like 13, so I always quote that one now. But that seems to kind of hit the mark for you.
I love that. Yeah.
Q, let me ask you a little bit about this, because you talk again, having done this for some time, and I hope I'm not slaying any sacred cows here, but in getting to know one another just a little bit, you're a little bit introverted. You're a bit reserved, right?
A lot.
Right. So why are you here on stage? And you show up, right? You show up even though that might not be your natural default. Why is it that you're associated with these three impactful organizations? Why are you here in front of all these folk today? You're not staying, I hope I'm not giving all your business of it, but you're not staying all the way through the weekend. You came to do some work and then to get back to family, presumably. So why are you doing this?
Well, for me, it's a responsibility. And I know, like, us as professional athletes, people look at us a certain way. A lot of people look at us as, like you said, exceptions. We may be exceptional in a given talent, but as people, we are ordinary. And I think sometimes that's lost on people, the human part of who we are. And the reason why all of us are here is because all of us has been affected in one way or another by something in society, right? So, and for us, it's seeing a problem, seeing a need, and then going out and helping. I was always taught that those closest to the problem are also those closest to the solution. So, I mean, for myself, I come up in a neighborhood that's less fortunate, not a lot of resources. We lack a lot of things. We needed a lot of help. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up in a community where everybody was family. You know what I'm saying? Like, it took a community to raise me, and that was never lost on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so coming from a community like that, where there's a lot of needs, you start to begin to realize, like, especially as being blessed with a certain talent. Man, if I use this talent the right way, I can bring about change. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, it's and I'm probably so like for me, going back home and then seeing things, a lot of stuff doesn't sit well. For example, I remember going back to my high school and just touring the school. It was after some time, and I went in my school library. Kid you not, I had more books in my office at home than my high school had in the school library. How How is that possible? And these are the things that hit home. Like, we want our kids to succeed. We gotta give them the resources to succeed. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we want them to be model citizens, we need mentors. Like, we have to give them what it is that they need for them to be successful. Like we were talking about, nobody is self-made. Nobody. I don't care who you are. You can be the richest person in the world. Somebody is helping. Somebody has lent you a hand. So for people to think that, oh, I made it and it was all me and I don't have to go back and get it, I need to pull it right. And for me, that's what it is. Like, I've been helped. Like, I didn't get here by myself. But I see the need that's out there in the community. So I would be irresponsible if I didn't go back and help where I saw there was a need.
So for you, there's absolutely a connection to community and responsibility. It's not leaving and escaping and making it out. It's getting and recognizing your talents and amplifying those talents in support of the community you come from. Is that fair?
Most definitely. And I feel like that's our responsibility. That's our obligation. We don't make it and leave and forget about the community. Even if people didn't help you, somebody helped you. Now it's your job to go back and help somebody else.
And what resonates for me, Q, is that, well, I didn't play with you, Anquan. The thing that resonates with me is this idea of, again, the idea of responsibility, but also not being exceptional in that regard. Not being exceptional because you are an athlete. Everybody has a talent that they would do well to define and understand and figure out how it is that they are in service to community in those meaningful and exceptional ways. Is that fair also?
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Like I said, I wasn't trying to get too familiar to call me Q. Me. Again, I'm not. One of the things that you said earlier on that I think is really important is you were talking about how in your foundation, it wasn't about the money. It was about how it is you could spend time or figure out how it is that you might be a resource. Why not just the money? And I think that's really important. And again, not meaning to be disrespectful in the platform that I'm on, but I know the NFL a lot of times can be like, okay, we can generate all this money and boom, let's put some money in it, but why isn't that enough?
I'm big on, well, first and foremost, coming up, I didn't have a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, to Q's point, I was in a very affected area as far as, is everybody hungry? There's a lot of violence, stuff like that. So money is not always a good thing in those situations. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times I feel like, one of the most important things to me is time and how much of that you can contribute to helping the cause. Because you can't always buy a solution, but you can work towards a solution. It takes work hours, it takes man hours, you know what I mean? So I think that, like, for me personally, obviously going back to my childhood and how I was raised with community. Just like you said, I was raised where, you can walk down the street, if your mama not home, you go stay at such and such house till your mama get home. You know what I'm saying? And so that ain't got nothing to do with money. That got to do with Miss Shirley's time that she put into me. You know what I'm saying? That got to do with Miss Maria's time that she stayed in her living room and let me stay in there until my mama got home, right? So I feel like it's more so, it's not as much about monetary contributions. And those are always helpful. But I believe that it's about your actual willingness to participate and actually get into the field and do and help initiate change, right? So I'm always brought back to, I used to live down the street from a YMCA. It was a brand new YMCA. They put it smack dab in the middle of the hood. And, everybody's kind of like, oh, what is it going to be? Like, what's going to come of this YMCA? When I say I ended up getting really close with the staff within the YMCA, and they told me, like, this is the most enrollment as far as memberships that they've ever seen at any YMCA location. Because so many people are enrolling, so many people are going there every day playing basketball, swimming, getting in the track or on the track around the workout room. And I say that to say, the more like time that you can give to a person, and the more time you can contribute to a cause, the more difference you'll see. Money ain't like, I can sit up here and write a $50,000 check. What is that going to go to, and what is that actually going to change, as opposed to giving them more like useless resources, as opposed to meaningful resources. So, just to answer your question, money. My mom, she let me, I would hold on to a $5 bill for 20 years. Like, I don't spend money. I really don't. I'm not just saying that, I do not spend money. And she knows that, and that's kind of what she instilled in me. Like, it's not always about money. It's about, and to Juwan's point, it's about being intentional. It's about being intentional with your time, with your money that let you choose to donate. It's about you being intentional with that. It's just about intent. And like I said, just taking the time to know what you're actually trying to affect, as opposed to just throwing money at it.
That's important. That's important. Let me ask this. I want to ask one more question of Q. Then I want to open it up to questions in the audience. And then Juwan, I'm going to lean into you a little bit, since you're here in this space, right? Q, you listed 3 different organizations that you're attached to in meaningful ways. The Players Coalition being one that has had strong impact on a variety of communities. So this idea of thinking locally, but also scaling up to act locally, is something that the Players Coalition seems to have been able to do in some significant regard. What are some things that you've seen? I mean, you've done everything. The Players Coalition, as I understand it, has done everything. We know the pillars, but you've lobbied congressional organizations, but you've also been local in Atlanta, right? I'm in Atlanta. You've been local in Atlanta and looking at how it is that you are able to get folks out of jail who shouldn't be in jail and things like that. How do you find spaces or ways to do the work?
Well, for us, it's going to the communities and talking with grassroots organizations and finding out the problems that's there. Too often, like, you have organizations like a Players Coalition. People go in and think they have all the answers.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to tell this community what they need.
Yeah.
Like, these are the people that live there.
Yes.
Like, these are the people that experience this day in and day out. Like, you just can't. Like, you don't have a clue what's going on. And I think for us, that has been a struggle suit for us. Like, we're not coming in and telling people what they need. We're coming in to learn. And I think the best thing you can do is listen.
Yeah.
Listen to people and they'll tell you what they need. It's like kids.
Yeah.
Listen to your kids, they'll tell you what they need. Yeah. And then when they tell you what they need, then, okay, here's how we can help. But if you go in thinking you got all the answers, like he said, you'll miss the mark every time. But for us, we've been intentional about listening. And then we listen and we understand what the problems are in that community, then we can go forward and help them. Like some communities have a problem with gun violence. Some is juvenile justice issues. Some it's food deserts. Some it's, you name it. Some communities don't have mentors. Some communities, like during COVID, we had communities that didn't have access to internet. So like, in each community, the needs vary. But like, if you don't listen to the people in that community, you'll never know.
Thank you. And with that, we'll take that as a cue, or initiation to kind of open up to the community here, because the idea is that we want for the Saints organization and or the community here to recognize that we're not recreating the wheel, right? We know that New Orleans in particular has deep culture, and they do and have done good work. What we wanted to do using the Super Bowl as an opportunity is to bring folks together in a room and figure out how it is that we can continue to be connected. So with that, can I ask if there are individuals in the audience now that might have issues or solutions that they think are important for us to lift up as we're in dialogue and community here today? So yes, please.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Let's get you a mic. Oh, we got it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Maria Bradshaw. I work for a voting rights nonprofit organization. It's a national organization, but I'm the Florida state coordinator. So being here with some of our HBCU Democracy Fellows from the HBCUs around the state of Louisiana. Super Bowl is here. You all spoke about the rich culture of Louisiana and New Orleans in particular. How do we have our sports organizations and athletes tie into the richness of the HBCU culture as well? I noticed that this is the first year that the NFL has a HBCU day for their NFL experience. How do we keep that relationship or that initiative going? How do we bring the Saints into partnering with institutions like Southern and Dillard and Xavier and Grambling, who's a little further out, but keeping the momentum going past just this weekend of it being here, and especially with everything going on at the federal level with attacks against diversity, equity, and inclusion. How are we supporting our HBCU scholars and everything that they have going on in their communities?
Thank you for that. Let me ask if Usama might give us a little bit of information, because certainly there is a relationship between the National Football Organization and HBCUs, and there has been for some time. Certainly your comments are important to me personally, because I graduated from Morehouse College and I taught there for the last 20 years, so I'm with you, and I went to Howard as well, right? But let me also ask, is there a specific ask that you're asking for some kind of general relationships, and I think that it would be easy for the NFL or representatives to say, yeah, we're going to do that, no problem. We're with it, and we already have done it. Are there specifics that you might ask? Think about it. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Something that's intentional and asking the students what their needs are, as opposed to just going in and saying, this is what we're going to do.
So engaging students in this idea around intentionality. Okay, thank you. And I want you to think some more on that, because especially considering kind of the positionality that you have with the organization, is there something that might be done with HBCUs in connection to you and in connection to the NFL? What are asks that might be able to easily be facilitated? Not $100,000 check, but this time and this intentionality and this commitment. You, anything?
I think I do have a reason for being here now. I get to speak first. Thank you for mentioning that. I want to highlight some of the individuals that are in the room that are part of those HBCU initiatives that you see, part of the day that you brought up as well. But the NFL and what I've witnessed, because I didn't go to an HBCU. It's okay, we love you. But I witnessed the experience programs. I witnessed several trips that HBCU students are able to take part in as they come to not just these tentpole events, but to the league office, to the clubs, throughout the NFL. I do love where you're going in terms of continuing those efforts. I spoke on a panel yesterday about opportunities or careers in tech and sports. And one thing that someone brought up was continuing to mentor. And that was huge, because some of those mentors sit in our buildings. Some of those mentors I work with, some of those mentors are executives within the NFL and beyond. And we're offering those to HBCU students throughout the year. And I don't want it to not be stated that those programs don't already exist, but they're continuing to evolve. I also state that I wish I had some of those opportunities that you just mentioned, because we know that exposure is huge. If you're able to get exposed to it, then you can be aware and say, oh, I can actually see myself doing this. And then when you see people that that look like you that are performing at a high level. Now you have that same vision for a goal to accomplish as well.
And also the protection that HBCUs provide during tumultuous times for our most vulnerable, our young people, right? In terms of how they're growing, developing, and figuring out how to change the world. So I appreciate you bringing that up as well. Yes, sir.
I was going to say that the part about Dr. Rice asking you to be intentional about what it is that you're asking for is important. Because, for example, I sit on a board now, and it's an individual who worked in journalism for years, and he went to the HBCU, he went to Howard, and his thing is to get more Black students into journalism. And like that's broad, but with him, he's being more specific and more intentional. Yes, he's doing a scholarship, but he knows that they need more than room, board, and tuition. They need exposure. So some of these conferences, these Black journalist conferences that they have around the country, he's actually doing scholarships where he can send kids there. He's also doing mentorships where you have Black journalists mentor college students. So when he talks about being intentional, it's exactly that, to be intentional, because a lot of times, if he was talking about, it takes more than money. Money is a great thing and it can help get a lot accomplished. But sometimes, like as organizations and as people, you need more than money. You need connections. You need doors to be open. And without that, you won't get to where you want to go. So it's being intentional. I like that, because when you're intentional, that's how you get to your goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like mapping it out. Okay, what is it that we need? And how do we get there? Like, you can give me a scholarship, but man, I need so much more than that. I need access. And that's what a lot of us need. You know what I'm saying? Access to whatever it is that we're going after. And I think, you talking about that being intentional and knowing what it is that you need and asking for that is a big part.
Other questions or comments? Brother, yes, help us out.
Yeah, so I run a gaming and esports organization. Shout out to Usama being there. What we talked about was the event that we put on where we got 140 kids come out to play video games, esports, and then the question is there a way to get in touch with you guys to expose you to what we're doing outside of just like the team personnel? The Player Coalition also maybe have like a way of saying, okay, these are the guys who are in the tech, these are the guys who are into these different categories. Like, how would we be able to get to you guys outside of just having the Super Bowl here tomorrow?
Glad you asked. Angela, raise your hand. Because this is what this event is about. It's about us connecting. Like I'm not here to just sit on the panel and talk and want to sound like a smart guy in the room. I think it's way more beneficial when we partner. Like, he can do great work on his own. He has his own platform. Same thing. But the thing that the coalition has been great about is partnerships. And the more that we partner, the more impact that we have in our communities. Players Coalition started with 6 guys going to Washington. And we didn't know what the outcome was gonna be. And now, 8 years later, it's over 1,500 athletes that are band together to work on issues in our communities. So the partnership piece, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what this event is about.
And so that registration is key. This idea around you all who have registered for the events, if everybody in here has not registered, please do, because the idea is that we want to make sure that we're able to connect the people in this room one with another so that we understand that there's an ecosystem that exists. Okay?
I have can you all hear me? Okay. I'm Native American. I am born and raised on the Navajo Nation. Native Americans are super underrepresented. You talked about COVID. My tribe 30% of us do not have running water, 40% do not have electricity. And how do we reach the indigenous populations and communities who are hugely invisible, both in the sports space and also in the community supporter space? And I'm speaking of, there's 5 federally recognized tribes here in Louisiana, but there's 574 federally recognized tribes throughout the United States. And how do we partner and working with the Native American, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian communities as well? So that's my question, because I would love to see a bridge of partnership for our communities.
So another aspect of community being in here, I know we've got representatives from our NFL BEI team, where we offer opportunities to minority-owned businesses. We do have a source program as well that provides support to those that don't necessarily need support. I don't want to put anyone, hey, hands up here, but ultimately the network within is what I would typically lean on in that regard.
Let me say, I'm going to do a little bit of an audible here, is the idea is that we are going to be connected in this room. So the fact that you're asking that, we want others to be able to step up and say, you know what, I heard what the sister said, and there's some very deliberate and intentional ways that we can connect and find some solutions and some resources. Things that we have to figure out is what are our passions in terms of what the needs are, and then connecting one to another. So there are too many people in this room for your tribe to be in the condition that it is in. So we have to figure out how to do right by you. So what our commitment is, I'm talking, I know I get myself in trouble when I do this a lot of times, right? But what our commitment is to figure out how to take steps forward so we're able to build the bridge that you're talking about. Again, we do not want to be in this space and just be rhetorical and just say, hey, we want to do A, B, and C. We're committed to amplifying the community and the things that work right in the community already, and then also understanding what the issues are that need to be addressed. So I hope that didn't sound like a bunch of BS, right? The idea is that we're going to connect with you and figure out how it is that we can do some good works.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm really nervous too. But I'm speaking on behalf of hundreds of people who are incarcerated around Louisiana with non-unanimous juries. Non-unanimous juries are very unique to Louisiana, and it was a law that passed in the 1800s to silence the voices of Black jurors and still impact our state today. The U.S. Supreme Court made non-unanimous juries unconstitutional, but that was just prospectively, which means there are hundreds of people in our state that were convicted even though 1 or 2 of the jurors did not agree with the conviction, were not convinced, and they're waiting for the state of Louisiana to do something. I'm here on behalf of them. They wanted me to ask you all if any of the players would be willing to go to Angola State Prison to meet with them, to hear directly from them about this issue. The Louisiana legislature has the power to make that U.S. Supreme Court decision retroactive. What we're asking is not to free the hundreds of people, we're asking for a constitutional trial. A trial where 12 jurors say guilty. We are the only state in the country where non-unanimous juries are still upheld, and we are one of the most incarcerated places in the world. The guys want to talk to y'all. I know nothing about sports, but they asked me to represent them, and they're going to ask me tomorrow who I met with, who I talked to.
Let me suggest this. Thank you for bringing the point up. Let me answer by saying this. Certainly the men up here can speak for themselves, but I think the short answer is, of course, there are athletes who would want to go to Angola to be in conversation. The thing is that we have to make sure that they're the right athletes who are committed and who are focused in those ways. So we want to make sure that we're intellectually and ethically honest with one another in terms of figuring out where people land on issues. But certainly, these brothers are connected to folks who already do prison reform work. So it doesn't seem like it would be a hard ask to be able to say, look, this is what's going on in Louisiana. Are there 5 guys who might go to Angola to visit to bring some perspective and some light to that? So I invite you to be in conversation with both after this as well, and to ensure that you are registered. So again, I don't want to speak over anybody here, but I offer that as an opportunity. Okay? Yes, brother, please.
First of all, I just want to thank you all for being here this afternoon. I'm a little nervous to do this kind of out of my box, but I think it's important to sit down and not say anything. I'm Jonathan May. I'm from Richmond, Virginia, and I have a company called Team Excel, and we work with schools, and we have a product that helps students with student success. The thing I want to bring up this afternoon, one of the things that we're working on is this issue of chronic absenteeism. And we talk about education and the issues we have. A lot of times it starts with just showing up to school. When we look at post-COVID, the national numbers say about 33% of our students are not showing up to school. We're starting to work with some athletes. We have a proven model where we show we can improve attendance. All of the things we've done it locally from the ground level, now we have technology to help expand it. We've created a solution. So I do have a specific ask. We've come up with a national campaign that is really simple. Let's tackle attendance together. It's something that we can have athletes, sports teams across the country come together. And so that's my ask for partners. And when we dig into those chronic absenteeism numbers, we work with an athlete in Atlanta. It's 35% chronic absenteeism rate in Atlanta. When you pull back that number even further, for Black students it's 42%, for economically disadvantaged students it's 43%. So we look at a community where almost half of our kids are chronically absent, which means they're missing 10% or more of their school days. That's a big part of our problem. And so I'm passionate about it. I know you gentlemen are passionate. I know that people in the room that's passionate about it. Again, I'm out of my comfort zone standing up. But we have a proven solution that we've done. We started this 10 years ago. And so my call out is for anybody in the room that's interested, where your corporate partners, mentors, you get some time, then, that's part of it. We have a solution that brings the whole community, that activates that village. And so thank you for your time. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thank you for the time. Let me say this as well. I always am amazed when I feel like and want to talk for another hour, but they won't let me. I know that I have to end within 3 minutes. But we also know that after our formal program, we don't want people to just dip out. The idea is that we are going to continue to be in community and conversation with one another. So the things that were specifically lifted up here are important, but other issues, please get to know one another and be in conversation about the things that are necessary to focus on. I want to point to this brother in the front with stripes on. Is this something, he's like one of my key discussants. Is there something that we missed that we can kind of end on? You being from and growing up in New Orleans, is there anything that's important for us to point to before we allow the brothers on stage to help us to close out in some meaningful ways?
Mental health.
Mental health, thank you.
Mental health.
Education.
Economic empowerment.
Okay. Mental health, education, economic empowerment, absolutely.
So, good afternoon. My name is Greg Fassett. No proof New Orleans kid. Also played for the Saints, Super Bowl championship with Usama Young. I heard a lot of what was shared. I thank you guys for being here in attendance and speaking organically. This really means a lot to me because I never had an opportunity.
Hold on, guys. You too random. You too weird, Greg. Hold on, brother. Oh, man.
But in all seriousness, it means a lot to me because I never had an opportunity to know that something like this existed when I was younger. So the things that was mentioned about education from the brother that just spoke, the HBCU, I'm a proud HBCU graduate, but I'm also a New Orleans, which means I navigated some of the same challenges that are being discussed in this room. So bringing it full circle, I would love to say, this platform, we wanted to have individuals in the room who can really challenge what's happening and what is not, but also bring awareness and collaboration to some of the things that are currently happening. I can speak personally and say I'm a part of the activations for HBCUs, having been at Grambling State. There's representation in this room, Dr. Eshma back there, who's in connection with the Saints as a part of what's being done, Xavier University as well. So when we think about education, absolutely, the results that you mentioned, brother, in terms of really family and parent engagement around how do we as athletes and others lean into role model what's important around literacy, being in school, and how education will ultimately advance everyone who's a part of any community. So when I think of it from those perspectives, I think there's a lot of us in this room, and everything that it is that we mentioned, I truly believe the solutions are in this room. So when they do get off stage, I would love to be a catalyst to whatever it is that you feel that we can do on behalf of the NFL, but also just the local New Orleans as well, to activate some change and collaborate to further push what's already being done. That's the thing that I would do.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you for your help and guidance, in the back of this and helping to push us forward and make sure that we are honest to the community that we're in, right? We want to make sure that we're not templative and come here and say, this is what you need, kind of to Q's point. You want to help us with the next portion of the program? I thank you all for being here. It is not over. We're going to be in conversation and community after this. I thank you for allowing me to be in conversation with you, brothers. I really respect and care for you so much in the work that you're doing, so we appreciate you. And again, the community who is here. Thank you all for being here and lifting up these issues and insisting that we deal with them. We know that we are in some trying times. For me not to say that in being up here as a black man who teaches at Morehouse College and who believes in freedom and democracy and all that, we know that folks who so often are pushed to the margins are being blamed for the margins that they are being placed in. But it is important to recognize that there are people who exist across platforms and circumstances and contexts who are pushing to do things for the greater good. So I thank you all for being here. I will get off of my soapbox. And Usama, if you can help us, I appreciate you.
Yes. Thank you for that. I want to say it was a very, very poignant conversation. I know there are a lot of items that were mentioned, in terms of just asks and even raising awareness too. I love the fact that during this talk, just taking notes, some of the points that were mentioned, thinking globally and acting locally. Juwan mentioned from the start, thinking small and how you grow and expand throughout. Those closest to the problem are also closest to the solution. That spoke tremendously of my own upbringing and several in this room as well. A lot of times we find ways to look at others for the support when it's truly within, and how we can make intentional steps to build, to grow support, and align with one another to find the solutions to the problem. The best thing you can do is listen as well. You dropped another gem there, because a lot of times we come on and we just start going off. We start telling, hey, this is what we're going to do here. This is what I think we should have. Instead of listening to those that might be in need and figuring out how we can support those in need, instead of just coming in and saying, oh yeah, this is what we're going to do. This is the best thing to do about this. I want to go in as well, because at the start I said we were going to celebrate. We were going to celebrate, we were going to highlight how we're all coming together to make an impact in our community. We want to continue to highlight and celebrate some people, some organizations. We started the Social Justice Town Hall back in LA some years ago, and we were having a conversation, but then we took it to the next level in terms of this year and said, how about we highlight some groups that these players have mentioned? And we thought about this Social Justice Town Hall Community Impact Champion Award. And with that, and I might be off on my slides here on my notes, but we want to highlight organizations that exemplify care, action, commitment, and acceptance through their work in the city. Each one of our panelists will present an award to a community champion. That award award comes with a nice plaque, but also a $10,000 award as well for the work that's being done. With that said, I'm going to start off with passing the mic to Khalen Saunders and Reform Alliance to tell us who their Community Impact Champion awardee is. Khalen, you're going to speak for a little bit, but also grab that award and pass it over.
All right, so this past December, I got an opportunity to get out in the community a little bit. I got a chance to do a food drive, raise some little bit of money and some food for the community, and really important organization in helping me do that, facilitate everything. I mean, they were rock stars throughout the whole time, and I was honestly honored to be working with them. So I want to present this award to Ladies of Hope Ministry, and I wanted to just give I think my representation, and I just wanted to present this to them because it was a beautiful time, and I think that that was just the initiative. But as long as I can continue to push forward and continue to use their platform as well as mine, I think that we'll continue to do great work in the community. So I just wanted to present this to Ladies of Hope Ministry.
I wouldn't say go ahead and have a seat, but I know the seat.
Thank you.
Next up. Thank you, Ladies of Hope.
Thank you.
Next up, I don't want to start going into my notes until I see this slide. Next up, Anquan Bolden, on behalf of the NFL Foundation, is proud to present the Community Champion Award to the 18th award. The NFL Foundation is committed to strengthening communities by supporting organizations that create opportunities and positive change. The 18th award embodies that mission by providing safe places, safe spaces, mentorship, and resources that empower youth and families in New Orleans. Their work is shaping the future of this community, and we're honored to recognize their impact today. The 18th award. You must not have made that call. Thank you.
I'm honored to accept this award.
No, he's not a shy guy. We'll go ahead and speak as well for the next Community Impact Champion. I want to present the Community Impact Champion Award to the Ladies of Hope. Oh, I'm sorry, not Ladies of Hope again. To the Promise of Justice Initiative. The Promise of Justice Initiatives work in criminal justice reform, fighting wrongful convictions, advocating for humane prison conditions, and challenging systemic injustices has changed countless lives. They've been a powerful voice for those who are too often unheard, pushing for fairness, dignity, and real change. Their dedication to justice makes our community stronger, and this recognition is well deserved. Please join me in celebrating their impact. Last one, on behalf of the New Orleans Saints, I'm proud to present the Community Champion Award to the NOLA Family Justice Center. This organization provides vital support to survivors of domestic violence, offering everything from legal assistance to counseling and safety planning. Their unwavering commitment to helping families heal and rebuild is making a profound impact on our city. We're honored to recognize their efforts in creating a safer, stronger New Orleans. NOLA Family Justice Center. Didn't want to come up. He doesn't want to photo off, so I'm just passing it. You did? Oh, come on up, please. Come on up. Anquan.
I promise I did not know.
Thank you all for joining us today. I do not want to miss out on anything. And usually, I would do what my daughter told me to do, and that's just speak from the heart. But on this one, you can't leave without saying thank you to certain individuals or organizations. First, I want to thank you for the work that you all do. Whether it is in education, whether it is in criminal justice reform, whether it is toward economic advancement, literacy, it's seen. We gathered this group together, like I said from the start, to of course celebrate, but also collaborate. And we want to continue to make impact. We want to continue to work together for social justice and equity. When I see this group right now, I want to challenge everyone here because we still do have some time. We have some time to fellowship with one another. We have some time to meet new people. I know we have organizations that are in alignment, and it's no reason to leave here without partnering or establishing some level of collaborative efforts with the organization that might align with what you're into, what you're passionate for. So with that said, before I get into the thanks, please don't just leave this conversation between these amazing gentlemen up here. Let's take the conversation into the next room and here and out into the streets as well and act. With that said, I want to make sure that I thank CEO Asali Devon Ecclesiastes. CEO of the Lauscha Cultural Arts Center, where we are sitting right now. What you put together as a convening space for community is amazing. Thank you for continuing. Yes, thank you. The NFL, several of my colleagues, several executives that are here today are able to support this initiative, how we grow, specifically how we align, how we continue to advance and what we do out in the community beyond just the field. Thank you all for coming today as well. The New Orleans Saints, can't thank you enough. I said from the start, we've had several conversations, Fred, Lauscha, and team. It's been amazing just coming together making sure that everyone in this room knew about the program, knew about what we were doing here today, so that we could collaborate, so that we could offer this space to speak, but also act. The conversation doesn't stop now. Thank you all for joining, all the New Orleans community for welcoming us here today. Being able to play this Super Bowl years ago, but now being able to be a part of just celebrating and watching the amazing athletes go out on that field and put on the show and the game that we love, we thank you for your hospitality. With that said, the bombs on roulette.